Okay, so yesterday we had started the chapter called The Woods, and we're going to kind of finish this section that features Sarah and Aidan's adventures in the woods and what they find with the end of the Woods chapter and the next chapter, which is called The Guards, chapter 6. So a little bit of a longer stretch, but hang with me, I think it will be worth it. So Sarah and Aidan had just found the star painted, and now they're going to investigate. "Let's go," said Sarah. "Wait," said Aidan. His sister looked at him impatiently and snapped. "What?" I'm just wondering if this is a good idea. We're getting farther and farther from where we came in. We're also getting closer and closer to whatever McGill is leading us to." "Yeah, but what?" I just don't like this, that's what." "So what do you want to do? Stay here?" Aidan looked back into the blackness of the tunnel. "No, not alone." "Then come on." She turned and started walking again, Aidan following unhappily. They walked for several minutes in silence, Sarah sweeping her flashlight beam continuously over the walls and ceiling. Aidan glancing back often, the only sound in the tunnel the echoes of their scuffling footsteps. After about 50 yards, the tunnel was intersected by another, branching off to the left. On the ceiling, they found another painted star and arrow, this time pointing to the left. With her heel, Sarah drew an arrow in the dusty floor, pointing back to where they came from. The new tunnel was slightly smaller, but still like a cave. "How far do you plan on going?" said Aidan. "I think that's up to Mr. McGill. But I mean, if we don't find something, at this point, we're going to turn back, right?" "Listen," she said, swinging her flashlight beam toward Aidan's face. "If you don't..." Aidan screamed. Sarah jerked violently, nearly dropping the flashlight. "Don't do that! What is wrong with you?" "I saw eyes," interrupted Aidan. "We have to get out of here now." "What are you talking about? What eyes?" "Yellow eyes. Right when you move your flashlight. I saw them over there." He shined his flashlight ahead. They both looked, but the flashlight revealed only the empty tunnel. "There's nothing there." "There was. I'm telling you, it was a pair of yellow eyes, close to the ground." "You just imagine that because you're scared." "Okay, listen. We'll both turn off our lights." "What is that going to accomplish?" "Then I'll turn mine back on. But this time, we'll both look straight ahead." "Aidan, just turn your light off, okay?" Sarah sighed and switched off her flashlight. So did Aidan. They now were standing in total blackness. "I really don't see what..." "Shh! Just wait." 10 seconds passed. 20 seconds. Aidan turned on his light, the beam filling the long tunnel. Nothing. Cobwebs, maybe some dust swirling in the air, but no yellow eyes. "You satisfied?" she said. "No. I saw something." "Huh. Or not," said Sarah, starting in the branch of the tunnel. Aidan had no choice but to follow. The last thing he wanted now was to be alone. But after a few minutes, they came to another branch tunnel, then another, and another star and arrow marker, so they kept going. And a third tunnel branching to the right. They found a marker telling them to go to the right. At the next branch, they went left. Aidan glanced back constantly as they moved deeper and deeper into the dark labyrinth. "Sarah, we've gone too far." "We are not turning back now. Anyway, I think we're coming to some kind of a room." She was right. In a few yards, they entered a high-ceiling, rough, square chamber. Its floor was strewn with rocks, large and small. Tunnels branched off in 4 directions. Sarah drew her heel mark into the dirt to indicate how they entered. Aidan was shining his light around, when suddenly he froze. "Oh no," he whispered. "What now?" said Sarah. Aidan, his hand shaking, said, "Look, I told you I saw eyes." Sarah's eyes followed his flashlight beams. She swallowed. The dirt floor was covered in animal tracks, large ones. "Are those dog footprints?" she said, her voice low. "If they are, it's a big dog. Or maybe many big dogs. We need to get out of here now." "We don't know that. These tracks could be really old." "I saw eyes, Sarah." "Aidan, look." The arrow pointed down. "I really think we need to leave." Sarah paid no attention. She walked to the sign. "It's here." "What's here?" It's pointing straight down. There's no tunnel or anything. It has to be here. Sarah, there's big animals right here. We need to dig. Sarah, we don't need to. You start there, I'll start here. She propped her flashlight against a rock and found two flattish rocks. She handed one to Aidan and they began digging. She dug down about 6 inches and continued toward Aidan, who was digging unhappily, but rapidly. When the trenches connected, he said, "What now?" "We dig deeper." After a few minutes, they paused for a breath. Sarah was about to resume digging when Aidan pulled his hand on her arm. "Did you hear that?" "What?" "Like breathing." They both listened. "Dig, quickly." "You did hear it. Just dig." The dirt was flying in all directions. They had now made roughly a circular hole about a yard across and more than a foot deep. Sarah glanced up to check the position of the arrow. Clank! Aidan's rock had hit metal. He pounded twice more. Clank, clank! Now they both dug furiously, scooping up the loose dirt with their hands and hurling it aside. They uncovered a rectangular metal plate. It was about the size of a sheet of paper with words engraved on it. Sarah brushed off the dirt and shone her light on it. Together, she and Aidan read the words. "Use it wisely or leave it be. Use it wrong and death to thee." Thee is an old-fashioned term for you, so it fits better with the rhyme if they use thee. "Maybe we shouldn't touch this," said Aidan. "What are you talking about?" "Death? It says death." He grabbed Sarah's wrist. "No," she said. "Listen to me, Aidan. We were meant for this, and this was meant for us. Look at what we've gone through to find this. He wants us to find this. He wanted someone to, but not us." "But it is us," she said, still holding his wrist. "We're going to find out what this is, and whatever it is, I promise, we're going to be smart about it." Aidan looked at his sister, then his gaze shifted slightly over her shoulder. Sarah watched as the color drained from his face. "Aidan, what is it?" Then she heard the growl. And that is the end of the chapter. So the authors have been dropping some clues for you related back to your knowledge of McGill. At the end of Sword of Mercy, McGill mentions that he is going to take some star stuff and hide it in caves up in Bath, he references. And if you remember the animals that he said that he would take with him to have them guard the caves up in Bath, you'll know what animal is growling at Sarah and Aidan. And it's not Carl, but in that same type of realm. So chapter 6 is called The Guards. Sarah froze, staring into her brother's terrified face. "What is it?" "It's not a dog." Slowly, Sarah turned her head, and somehow she managed to suppress a scream when she saw what Aidan had been looking at. A wolf. A large wolf. It was less than 10 feet away, its eyes glowing brightly in the beam of Aidan's flashlight. Its mouth hung open, revealing a pink tongue and jagged, glinting teeth. There were more wolves behind it. Sarah counted 7 of them. Their fur was matted and mangy. They looked skinny, and they looked hungry. Their glowing eyes were fixed on the humans. Their black noses were sampling the scent of their intruders. "Oh my God," said Aidan. "What are we going to do?" "Listen," said Sarah. "We are going to get out of here. We're going to move very slowly, but first we are going to get whatever it is that we found." "Are you insane? Just watch the wolves." And with a deliberate movement, she turned back to the hole. She reached down and hooked a finger under the metal plate in the dirt and gently pulled it aside. Beneath it was a cubical metal box, maybe 6 inches on the side, its golden color glinting in the flashlight beam. She picked it up. It felt solid, heavy for its size. She unzipped her backpack and put the box inside. "They're coming closer," said Aidan. The alpha wolf, the leader, was now several steps closer. The other wolves were moving. They were blocking the exit. Sarah slowly raised her flashlight, and she aimed it directly into the alpha wolf's eyes. He backed up, growling. "They don't like the light. But that's not going to get us out of there. I wish McGill mentioned that there would be wolves in the—" "Feed the guards," said Sarah suddenly. "You mean—" "Yeah, the wolves are the guards, I hope." She kept her gaze and her flashlight beam on the growling alpha wolf. She slipped out of the backpack and handed it to Aidan. Get those sandwiches, hurry. Aidan unzipped the backpack and found the bag of sandwiches, and as he pulled it out, the survival tin fell at his feet. He picked it up and passed it to Sarah, who tore it open with her teeth and threw the cheese sandwich to the wolf. He took a sniff, then snapped it up in a single bite. Instantly, the other wolves surrounded him, looking for their share. He snarled at them, and they backed off, but not far. We need to back them up. Aidan looked in his tin. Matches. I think there's matches in here. He found a box that said matches and razor blade. I've got matches. There's 6 of them and a razor. I don't think the razor's going to do us much good. I'm going to try to move them so we can get past. She raised the sandwich over her head, and several pairs of hungry wolves followed. The pack moved a bit, but not much. Sarah only had 1 sandwich left. When I throw this, we head for the tunnel. Don't turn your back on them. I saw this on TV. They go for your heels, and that's how they drop you. They snap your tendons and you can't move. Then they eat you. I did not need to know that, said Sarah. Aidan got his match ready, and he struck it. The wolves were on it, landing. Sarah and Aidan walked sideways so they faced the wolves, and in a second the sandwich was gone. The battle was over. Now, yelled Sarah. Aidan drew the match along the striking strip. The tip hissed and flared white. The alpha male growled and began moving forward. Sarah tore off a piece of sandwich. I don't have much sandwich left, so make it count. On 3, she tossed the chunk of the sandwich. The other wolves finished the scraps and were just behind their leader. 1 more piece and 3 more matches, said Aidan. That's not enough to get us out of here. Sarah threw the last piece of sandwich and they turned and running as a vicious fight erupted behind them. Aidan looked back, relieved to see the tunnel was empty. Sprinting and panting, their flashlights beaming wildly, Sarah and Aidan reached the first heel mark and turned. They kept running and running. Hurry, hurry, but we couldn't outrun them. Sarah knew that. Aidan felt the backpack. The heavy golden box was banging into him as he ran, and he made a decision. He was going to throw the box at the wolves. He knew Sarah wouldn't agree with that decision, but he wasn't going to let himself get eaten to save a box. He grabbed the matches and the razor. Sarah reached the next mark. At the same time, he bit off a chunk of the candy bar, wrapper and all. The wolf stopped. He snapped up the treat. Aidan quickly bit and spit out a few more chunks. They reached the 3rd heel mark. Sarah reached the last one, indicating the 3rd opening through which they'd entered the tunnel. Go, shouted Aidan. But they're going to get you. Just go. Sarah dropped to her belly, wiggled into the crawlway, and Aidan lit the 4th match. Aidan backed up, his foot finding the opening. The match burned lower. Aidan knew Sarah was right. By the time he turned and crawled into the hole, the wolves would get him. He decided his only chance was to throw the box. Maybe he could injure it enough that the other wolves would attack, but it didn't seem likely. I'm through, Sarah's muffled voice came from the crawlway. Aidan, you okay? I'm a little busy here, he said, holding the very end of the almost spent match toward the alpha wolf as he reached the backpack and felt a metal cylinder. It was Sarah's hairspray. Sarah, come back, quick, hurry. For once, she didn't argue. He could see the flicker of her flashlight. When you see my feet, pull. What? My feet, pull hard. The match went out, and the alpha wolf took a step forward, his dagger teeth gleaming. Aidan lit the 5th match and sent a stream of hairspray across it. A 3-foot blowtorch shot towards the alpha wolf, who howled in rage. The match was dwindling, and he fired another blast. Pull my legs! He felt Sarah's hands grip his ankles. Finally, she pulled. The furious alpha wolf lunged forward, and Aidan repelled it with another blast to the eyes. But now the hairspray can was empty. The wolf lunged forward. He was trying to get towards Aidan. Taking advantage of these distractions, Aidan and Sarah managed to wriggle backward the remaining few yards to the metal door. They scrambled out, and Aidan yanked the door shut just as the alpha male reached it. The wolf slammed into the door. Sarah, shoving the backpack ahead, crawled into the last exit of the tunnel. Aidan was on her heels. In less than a minute, they were standing outside the massive boulder outcroppings. The dark woods, which 2 hours earlier had seemed so scary to Aidan, for now looked safe and welcoming. For a moment, they stood, exhausted, gasping for breath. Aidan found that he could not stop himself from trembling as he remembered the sight of the wolf's snapping jaws inches from his face. Ah, said Sarah. There, that wasn't so hard. Aidan laughed. Remind me when I get my strength back to kill you. It was Sarah's turn to laugh. They opened the backpack. I wonder what we almost got eaten for. She pulled out the heavy golden box and turned it over in her hands. Its smooth surface gleamed in the waning glow of Aidan's flashlight. There was no apparent latches or hinges. I wonder how you open it, she said. We can figure that out later, said Aidan. The batteries are low. We got to get out of these woods and back to Bath before Mom and Dad wake up. For once, Sarah didn't argue. She put the box back into the backpack as Aidan activated his phone GPS. In a few minutes, they were trudging back through the woods toward their bikes and the road. They spoke little, but as the excitement of their triumph began to wear off, the same thought drifted through both of their minds over and over again. Use it wrong, and death to thee. Chapter 7 is called The Tower, and we'll start that tomorrow. So obviously the reference to the box and the word golden should send off some alarms in your head, and I think that's intentional with the authors. What we want to see is what is inside the box, and if you think you know what's inside the box, what's going to happen because they've located this box, either good or bad. So we will be back with Chapter 7 tomorrow.